return to his different subjects. So I suppose one can't go wrong. I was standing, as I've told you many times as well, during going here and there, I pick up bits of information which are quite interesting. I think, wow, we store that away and I have something to say Thursday evening. Yesterday I was in Al Sameach and there's a rabbi there who's called Ronovich. I don't remember all these names exactly, but especially Odin Godwin, he was once upon a time a professor in Harvard of law. One of the outstanding.
Riderwitz.
Well, what's his name?
Riderwitz.
You remember all the names nicely. Riderwitz. Anyway, so he said something.
Genius.
Pardon?
He's a big genius.
You have to listen to him and you really appreciate it. He comes and gives us here there twice a week. Anyway, he said yesterday, the following, he said, this week said that we learn about the Nevi'im and the Kohanim. The din is, the Mishnah says, a Levi, once he becomes 50 years old, that's a cut-off point, and he's not allowed to do the Avodah anymore. A Levi. Till 50 is okay. Right? Once he's 50, 50th birthday, then he has to go into retirement. A Kohen can carry on working as long as he's got koyach, as long as it doesn't matter if it's 100, he can still do the avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, as long as he's physically capable. But there's no limits as far as age is concerned. However, there are limits with mumin. If he's got mumin, then he can't. Levium, on the other hand, there's no restrictions as far as mumin, but there are as far as years are concerned. So he quoted the Tzemach Tzedek. The Tzemach Tzedek was one of the first Bibles, and he also mentioned, by the way, that the Aruch Shulchan got slicha from the Tzemach Tzedek. It's a big chiddush.
Yeah,
because the Aruch Shulchan is misnagid.
Right.
And when he went for his smicha, he didn't just go and get tested. You had to move in with the Rav for half a year, and you really had to know what you're talking about. And he said, well, the whole time he was there, the Tzemach Tzedek never ever spoke to him about Hasidus or Kabbalah, only Torah. Anyway, so that was just by the way. And the Tzemach Tzedek gives a reason like this, that the avodah of the Kohanim was limited. This is how it has to be done. There's no adding bits or your own ideas or enhancing the avodah. There are certain boundaries, certain borders. That's what you have to do. The B'nai Aaron thought they could enhance the avodah by doing this, that, and the other, and they ended up by fire coming down from heaven and consuming them. So there is no area at all of your own adding your own thing. Well, if that is so, then once a person gets used to doing something, then you can carry on doing it. Like a man who's always gone to shul for Shabbos his whole life. So when he's 80, there can be snow and rain and thundering, and he still goes to shul, because he's famous to do it. So the Kohanim, whose avodah in the Beis Hamikdash was told exactly what to do, no deviation, nothing added, no enhancing the avodah, do as you're told, they can carry on at whatever age. The Nevi'im, however, their job in the Beis Hamikdash was music, singing. Right? Singing is something which is creative. You're creating new things all the time. Right? So when you're with a certain age, you're young to 50, so okay, it's good enough. But after 50, there's a general deterioration. I'm not quite sure about the world of music, but there's main composers when they're over 50. Over 50, one loses this zest of life and so on. So therefore, a lady whose job in the basement was to sing, once it came to that time, 50, that was the cut-off line. I was once standing in a queue in London. Shop was Kosher King, by the way. There was he standing behind me, and he asked me the following question. Maybe one of you can come up with an answer. In one place, the Chumash says the Nevi'im were counted from the age of 30, and in another place it says they were counted from the age of 25. So there's a discrepancy of 5 years. How comes? So it is discussed, and the answer is given. It took them 5 years to learn the chokhmah of music. In the Beis Hamikdash, everything which was beautiful, everything which was wonderful was found there. Music conveys a person to tremendous heights. By the way, it can also bring a person down into the lowest depth, depending on what music you listen to. Right? But it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. So the Nevi'im were not allowed to participate in the music unless they were trained. So it took 5 years. That's why 25, 30. So he asked the Kasha, if the Beaton took 5 years to learn how to produce the music, what about the Kohanim? We had to learn the whole Sefer Kodshim. A sixth part of the whole Torah is Kodshim, all about the Kabbalah, Chatas, all the different things. I've read Yom Kippur. There's a vast amount of learning. You don't find there's any particular time when they are going to spend time training or not training. So his question was, if Ravim needed 5 years, the Kohanim needed 25 years. So how come you don't find that they're giving any training time? You've got an answer?
A lot of the stuff that Kohanim do is just regular stuff that everyone did. Everyone knew how to chef the cow because everyone needed
You
meat.
think about all Kodshim, all the different things.
I'm saying, there's
It's vast enough, huh?
chefing.
All that, very good.
Yeah, but if you just say that, I'm not going to decide which one this is and who it's for, then we're called every night.
It's going to get us a sixth of the whole chain. One of the sisters of the Mrs. Kodshim. So these are the lines. A possible answer could have, I think we're getting quite close to it actually, that they lived it. From a very young age, right in the very beginning, a Kohen in his house, everything was going on, was circulating around the theme of Kodshim and Kabbalas and so on. So it's like if you tell somebody who hasn't kept kashrus, and you tell them, you've got to have special things for milk and special things for flakes and for Pesach and for Pava and this. You say, it's impossible. How can you ever do that? People, when you actually, it's part of your life, it becomes all that much easier. So maybe that is a possible answer for that problem. Last week said we find out in the Siyam, an interesting thought. The Siyam, they came along when they were donating gifts for the building of the Mishkan. And the Siyam, the prince, said, let everybody give what they want, and any shortfall we'll pay. Anything which is missing at the end, we'll make up. Now that would be the dream of any building committee. When they put up a building, it's going to cost a few $1 million, where do you get that money from? A big guy comes along and says, let everybody raise money, and anything missing, I'll make up. Wonderful. But the Torah criticizes them for that, because there was a lack of, if you're eager to do a mitzvah, go and do it, don't hold back. So therefore the Torah leaves out a yud from their name. Then the Siyam is written with a yud missing. However, when it came to the consecration, and there had to be gifts, and they bought a whole lot of gifts with carbonas and potatoes and spices and so on, it takes up 6 psukim. And each one of the Siyam, Reuben, Shimon, Levi, all bought the identical gift, and it takes up 6 whole psukim, the actual telling you what the gift is, and the Torah repeats it 12 times. The Torah is very economical with every single letter. So you see a wonderful lesson from that when it comes to negative, criticizing them, it's a yud missing. When it comes to complimenting them, positive, then the Torah says 6 psukim, 12 times over. What's 12 times 6? 72. 72 psukim. It could have very easily have coped with just 6 psukim. There's a general lesson in life, in relationships, whether it's with a teacher and a pupil, or whether it's a rebbe and his talmidim, same thing, teacher and pupil, or whether it's with a husband and wife, or whether it's your own children. One has to concentrate on the positive. Sometimes, of course, you have to tell them where they're going wrong, but you get good results if you keep to the positive side of things. Like a child who came home and he was full of delight. He said, I went in for this examination and I got 98 out of 100. So you know what his dad said? Why did you get 100? Now that's what we call a first-class example of negativity. What he should have said was he should have jumped on the table and said, wonderful, fantastic, I'm proud of you. Right? That has results in life. It's quite an important lesson in life. This week said we also hear about the trumpets, the Klal Yisrael in the Midbar, thousands and thousands of Eden. I remember when we wanted to make a Shabbaton in school, it's moving about 100 children. You had to prepare weeks before, and you had to do this and that. And so it was a major effort with a lot of people. Now, in the Midbar there was 3 million Eden at least. and they had to move off at times. How did they move? How did Moshe Rabbeinu get in touch with them all? Well, he texted them all, you know? He'd be very good, just text the message to all the and that's it. But it didn't exactly work. So what they did was it was highly, highly organised, and as a matter of fact, when Beaton looked down on the encampments of the Jewish people, and he was looking with his evil eye, trying to find something bad, he had to compliment them. Our worst enemy had to compliment, right? And we live in such a society here. I'm also very impressed here. Now, in England we lived in Golders Green. Golders Green is not a rough area at all. But we wouldn't dream of letting a girl out at 8, 9 o'clock by herself in the evening. Wouldn't come into question. Here, the granddaughter of mine was with us one evening. It was 11:30 at night. A girl of 12, 13, right? And it's time to go home. I said, I'll see you home. She said, it's not necessary. Then you can't go home by yourself. And I said, why not? She wanted to go. And she went off by herself, and there was no problem. And this is kind of Israel where, as far as the world is concerned, it's not so safe. Right? It wouldn't happen. Right? Someone told me in New York there was a knock on the door. The policeman was knocking on the door, and he said to the parents, I'm going to summons you. What do you do wrong? You let your child out by himself at 6 o'clock in the evening. It's actually a story. You've got to keep them under constant supervision all the time. We live in an area, we live amongst Eden. The stock of the Eden giver is also phenomenal, is very special, and we should really appreciate what we are. That's what the Gershom Edelstein also mentions many, many times. A person has to know their strengths. A person, if you unfortunately have got weaknesses, and we should, and we do know our weaknesses, but you have to know the good points that you are. And that gives you strength, that gives you encouragement, and that's positive. I just want to end with another part of the Torah which we learn out from the Shabbos, from the Yonim of Shabbos, we learn from the Mishkan. Now, one of the Lamatas Malachas is Bona, building. If you build a building, you're only chayav on Shabbos when it's permanent. Where do we learn building from? From the Mishkan. Well, the kasha is, the Mishkan wasn't permanent. If somebody puts up a building, and it's only for a short while, you mustn't do it on Shabbos, but you're not chayav. You're only chayav when it's permanent. Yeah? Only if it's permanent. And where do you learn it from? From building the Mishkan in the Mikvah. But that was certainly temporary. It was put up and taken, it's dismantled and put up and taken down. So how can you learn from the Mishkan? The Gemara asked the kasha, and the Gemara said, since it says, Al Pi Hashem Yachnu, Al Pi Hashem Yachnu, Al Pi Hashem Yachnu, Al Pi Hashem Yachnu, they journeyed, it was Al Pi Hashem, so it was like permanent. Why is it permanent? What's permanent about it? Because it was Al Pi Hashem. It was still temporary. So once heard, I forget who told it to me, but it's certainly not my own idea, say like this: if a mummy is holding her baby, imagine a mummy is holding her baby, and you can speak to the baby, and you say to this baby, where are you? So if the mother is standing in Paris, or in New York, or London, it doesn't matter where the mother is standing, right? That child will always say, right, where am I? I'm in my mother's arms. It doesn't matter where the mother is. So Yidden were in such a madriga in the midbar that wherever they were at any time, right, it was always it was in the hands of Hashem. So it was a permanent situation. I think there's quite a nice, perhaps a beautiful lesson you can take away with you when you make your way home. You have to understand that one is always, at all times, wherever you are, you're always with Hashem. It doesn't matter what situation, and that's it can be a big chizur, it can be a safeguard of what you do and where you go and how things go. So I would like to take this opportunity. I would love to be here next Thursday to participate in the but I've got a chassid. It's the chassid which I have to go to. I have no optional. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Rosh Hashivas and the Rebbes here for giving me the opportunity of learning the boys. And I'd also like to thank the Talmidim who I learned from. Right? You get that? I don't know how much they get from me, but I certainly get quite a lot from them. They come along with different ideas, and it's a general fizzle. So he has to call up for everybody, and hope to see you all back in Ella.